Hi, I'm Jamie Pedersen, the state senator for the 43rd Legislative District, which is in the middle of Seattle. And I'm here today to give you a brief update on the work that the legislature is doing to try to provide ample funding for basic education in the state of Washington. Since the Supreme Court's 2012 decision in the McCleary case, we have been working on making sure that we increase our funding for the public schools in the state of Washington. As the father of 4 kids in Seattle public schools, this work is deeply personal to me. And I've seen the benefits of some of the work that we've done already, including the funding for all-day kindergarten and lower class sizes in kindergarten through 3rd grade. But we have quite a ways to go, and probably our biggest challenge this year is to figure out how to make sure that there's a stable funding source for the full cost of teacher compensation in districts throughout the state. Nonpartisan estimates have given us a number that's around $3.5 or $4 billion that the state is underfunding salaries in the allocations that it sends out to districts. So we are in deep discussions between the House and the Senate, the Democrats and the Republicans, and the governor's office about how to come up with the resources to make sure that every kid in the state has a great education. You may have heard from Seattle Public Schools that there's an immediate problem that we're facing, which is that the levies that are collected locally are set to expire in the end of 2017. As a result, Seattle Public Schools is facing a deficit, nearly all of which is accounted for by that levy cliff, of over $70 million for the 2017-2018 school year. If the legislature fails to address this in the next 3 or 4 weeks, Seattle Public Schools will have to send out several hundred layoff notices to its teachers and other staff. And so the Democrats in the House and Senate are working very hard to try to achieve an extension of that levy cliff proposal. On the other side of the equation, we're trying to solve the longer-term problem, and the governor's office and the House Democrats and the Senate Democrats have offered a set of funding options to try to pay for the compensation costs of teachers. The proposals from the House and Senate Democrats and the governor include looking at progressive revenue sources such as a capital gains tax or a carbon tax or a restructuring of the state's business and occupations tax. The Senate Republicans a few days ago rolled out their own plan, which involves dramatic restructuring of our state's property tax and the shifting of the balance between local levies and the state property tax levy. For the Seattle Public Schools in particular, the plan is an unmitigated disaster. We would pay, as a city, something in the neighborhood of $175 million of additional property taxes, and rather than getting additional resources for the public schools in Seattle, the plan would actually reduce funding in Seattle Public Schools by over $30 million. Needless to say, that is not the spirit of what the McCleary decision requires or what's needed in public schools that are struggling with schools that are bursting at the seams and a lot of kids with needs that they need to have met so that they can succeed in life. So we are going to be working very hard to make sure that that plan doesn't pass as proposed, but instead gets amended here over the coming weeks and months to provide ample funding for all kids across the state and in particular in Seattle Public Schools to make sure they get the great education that they deserve. Thanks very much.